We come into this world with our eyes closed. And most of us choose to live our whole lives that way. We blindly follow anyone who will lead us, giving ourselves over to anything that provides us with a sense of purpose. For me, it was the Marines.
Another year, another Call of Duty. First, I want to preface this review by saying that I haven't played an entry in the series since 2010's Black Ops, so first-person shooter fatigue hasn't hit me as strong as it may have hit others. However, while previous titles have always been able to ride on its predecessor's success, the critical failure and stagnant innovation of last year's Call of Duty Ghosts has put this game in a precarious position by professional critics and players alike.
Son, I want to offer you a second chance.
With the promise of new gameplay experiences with the all-purpose exosuits, a plot that dives headfirst into the technology and terrorism of tomorrow, and a Hollywood A-list actor fueling its flames, can Advanced Warfare scratch off the stain of Ghosts and bring back players who have moved on to new franchises?
The dead, they've settled their debts. It's up to the living to pick up the tab.
Despite the somewhat contradictory title, given the game has you playing through most of it as a mercenary for hire, the game has all the bravado and patriotic heroism as in previous entries. In a move that shocked no one, Troy Baker partakes in the futuristic fray as protagonist Mitchell, whose name you'll become very familiar with.
On you, Mitchell. Drop him.
Mitchell! Close the blast shield!
Mitchell. Ready with a mute charge.
Mitchell, secure the PM.
After a stint in the Marines, Mitchell receives his call to action from the CEO of Atlas Industries, the world's largest army of guns for hire, who fight wars, assassinate terrorists, and, predictably, try to take over the world. It's up to Mitchell and his typecast friends to unravel the conspiracy and bring down Atlas's House of Cards.
Superpower for hire.
As per the usual, players are taking on a globe-trotting adventure ranging from Baghdad to Detroit, Seattle, Seoul, and to a flatteringly faithful recreation of San Francisco. All of these levels are wholly detailed and colorful, which is actually kind of unfortunate, because you spend 3/4 of the game sprinting from cover to cover while your screen bleeds in front of you. Particular missions have you manning assault and stealth drones, tanks, helicopters, and jets, in addition to the ever-popular stick-to-the-shadows excursions. Other than a new gun that shoots a laser beam, gun variety doesn't deviate from your standard assault, shotgun, and sniper classes, but new tools like the smart grenade allow you to approach firefights with a bit more tact. It does get expectantly pathetic at times, stepping into a vehicle with full knowledge that at some point you're going to get blown up and pull a few barrel rolls before crawling out of the wreckage, with that disoriented drainage of sound Saving Private Ryan popularized so many years ago. But for the most part, these set pieces had my heart pounding, and were designed in a way that felt new and novel to the game's universe.
Oh. Did you see that shit?
There's a rush you don't get in many games when mowing down foot soldiers in a tank, or scaling a building with a grappling hook, that if you shove your intellectual ego into the drawer for an hour, you're going to at least crack a smile.
Training complete. Your score was perfect.
While last year's graphical upgrade was laughable, Sledgehammer has done its part to make Advanced Warfare a very good-looking game. Characters show real emotion on their faces, not only in cutscenes, but for in-game cinematics as well. It joins L.A. Noire and The Last of Us with some of the best facial recognition software in the industry. What really stands out, though, is the game's sound design. Music is appropriately epic during each explosive climax, and somber melodies wind you down for individual tragedies. Gunfire is better than ever, as well as your new futuristic toys, and little details like glass breaking beneath your feet greatly add to the tension during some missions. Still, even with its grandeur and the frills of the exosuit, this is very much a Call of Duty campaign. You're still going to decimate thousands of soldiers, you're still going to be sitting in cover waiting for your health to come back, and you're still going to laugh at the plot twists, which consequently open up some gaping holes in said plot as well. For example, if your boss decided to take the world hostage with nuclear weapons, would you still work for him?
Direct attack on the U.S.? Are we sure Irons is even up for that?
Oi! No dozing.
Overall, it surprises me to say that Advanced Warfare's campaign is, dare I say it, worth playing. The plot can be inconsistent and twists are anticipated, but it's filled with enough action and spectacle to merit the 10 or so hours it takes to beat. But, as always, the real reason you're going to buy this game is for the multiplayer, and of course, to get clips for your new quickscoping montage. While last year's Ghost did very little to differentiate itself from what came before, Advanced Warfare has banked its success on the introduction of the exosuit, and joined the ranks of Titanfall and Destiny as another mobilized multiplayer shooter. The device attaches to the player's spine and allows for upward and strafing dashes to either propel you into the action or evade from danger. Once you get used to the controls, it works very well, and it makes the trip getting back into the fight after respawning more enjoyable than I thought possible. The standard Call of Duty staples still apply, with perks and limited weapon attachments, but now different abilities can be applied to augment your suit. Some of these can completely change your strategy of engagement, providing boosts to your health, speed, cloaking technology, and even a shield to protect you from taking damage. Much like Black Ops 2's version of outfitting your soldier, you're allowed any combination of 13 boosts to truly narrow down your style of play to focus on your strengths, but risk opening up glaring weaknesses. With every player having access to a unique style of playing, matches feel faster and zanier, leading to a game that feels different and fresh, while remaining unique to the formula of Call of Duty. This can be particularly highlighted if you build a class based on taking full advantage of the new movement system. When you're cutting corners and getting the drop in your opponents, sometimes literally with a ground pound, or aiming a shot towards the goal in the new rugby-type game mode Uplink, it can sometimes feel like you're playing a new IP entirely.
Our UAV is online.
And that's really what it comes down to, if it hasn't already. Despite the new additions, this is still very much a Call of Duty shooter. Even with the new approaches and verticality, there are still choke points on the map, campers in corners, and 10-year-olds who are better than you. The exosuit and augmented abilities, while fun to experiment with, don't do enough to give the series the overhaul it ever increasingly needs, and if you've been growing tired of the shooter, this won't change your mind. While Advanced Warfare at the end of the day is simply adding further refinement to a tried and tested formula, it has taken considerable steps in order to freshen up its gameplay and add some creativity to the license. If you skip the last few titles, or Destiny and Titanfall just didn't do it for you, sometimes the old dogs can still learn a few new tricks.
Stay with me. You're gonna be alright.